young show, we have 14 classes, 3 divisions. We are going showing this is the first class of those, 40 to 59 pounds. Our judge today, Dr. Scott Greiner, a native of Iowa. We're glad to have him here with us today. Dr. Greiner started his collegiate career at Iowa State University, followed by a very, very impressive tenure as not only a member of the Iowa State Meat and Livestock Annual Evaluation Team. Most notable win was he was a high individual at the National Collegiate Contest in Louisville, Kentucky, way back in 1988. 1988, not 1888, 1988. He also coached teams at Michigan State and Iowa State, including 2 national championship teams at Iowa State in 1919 and 1993, respectively. He is the superintendent of the National Collegiate Livestock Judging Contest held in Louisville, Kentucky. Let's give a big round of applause to Dr. Scott Greiner.
You got it all messed up, man. mine up right with one road. He just go down the road. He'll just I don't really know.
Starting to get a good one.
I think we
He reminds me of country. I don't think yeah. Yeah, when you stand up here doing this, you're reminding me of hunter. You're just like the paper little when you want to.
And that was the first year they went and I tried. He just told me, you got to stay on and stay on. You get on your own. He told me that. Yeah, he said you didn't told me that. And I fucking knew that. Now Aaron got me some stuff. He told me this. And I knew that. We were going to pay me out and I was like, man, it's good. Puts too much fun on them, too much rib on them.
Great to be back with you, and really nice class here. Lightweight goes to get us started on quality all the way through, and I think a nice pair of those to start with, and it's a logical third for me, and a pair of those that both of them extremely bruised in terms of their build, and big in their rib cage, and nice in terms of their chest, and their balance, and correct, and good in their line. I think we've got just a little more extension in the goats that we're going to lead with. I think we've got just a little more, a little presence as you get her out here on the side. Maybe got a little extra length from flank to flank. She gets out and travels very well and maintains a lot of presence and a lot of symmetry as we get her in motion. She's maybe not quite at that level right back to her hip as the doe that we've got coming in second. I think she's a little more immature in terms of the way she reads to me without quite as much condition as the doe that we've got in second. Not necessarily that the doe in second is over conditioned by any stretch, but I think she's got just a little more growth, a little more extension, and reading with a little later maturity pattern. I like this doe in second a lot. She's stout built, she's big in her center body, rib cage, she's nice into her chest board, she's up at a really level and well designed in terms of her skeletal makeup. She's much wider in her pin, she's quite a bit stouter, she's done here from forward to rear, opens up in her forward better than the doe that we've got coming in third. Doe in third is arguably probably one of the few ones we've got out here. I think her better days are ahead of her. She certainly reads with a lot of extension. She's coming in and balance. I love her front end. I love her neck and her shoulder. She just doesn't have quite the mass and substance for those around her today, and I think with some more time, the doe is going to work off as well. From her hips forward, I like her doing forward quite a bit. I think she competes in terms of her rib shape. She's really nice top. She's good over her low end. She gets a little upright in her shoulder, a little forward. Your knee wants to turn out up front just a little bit, like square her up from behind and give her a little more natural lift in her pin. Go along with that extra shape and height as we're going to change her. The doe we got coming in this certainly has some quality. When she gathers up and gets put together, a doe that gets us some balance. My problem is she gets a little easy in her top. She's a little rougher in terms of her line. The pieces don't fit together quite as nicely. But again, a doe that's got quality, base width, and foot size, and soundness for sure. Give our class 1 exhibitors a nice hand for job well done.
Hey, he doesn't have time for this. Was that not the biscuit one? Didn't they skip some out? Oh, okay. I thought it was like I thought, there was like 10 that they placed out, and that was the best of the 10. I was like,
Winners in Class 1, Ariana Lundgren, here at Frank. Ariana Lundgren, Cameron Shelton, Denison Whiteburn, Lacey Rosetta, Sylvia White, Michelle Rosetta, Michael Rosetta, Linda, and Anna Stratton. Those are the winners in Class 1, Class 2 in the ring now. These doves are 60 to 69 pounds, and pounds too. Four classes in our first division, 3 divisions total.
interesting class tonight, and I think that we sort through these and study them. Obviously, we've got lots of differences in presentation and hair length and how we go about showing them, and that's all good. And I think we pick apart and study these does for what they really are. This doe that we're going to start with, I think, is ultra complete. In my mom, as we put them in motion, you study them in terms of their real skeleton and the way they're balanced and put together, feet and leg wise, balance wise, levelness down their top and tail set, and flexibility and motion and femininity, and putting that together with some body and muscle. This going first does that extremely well. The only thing she's not is quite as hairy, so she doesn't bulk up quite as much as some does that stand behind her, but I think she's starting her true width and her true skeletal dimension. I think there's just as much there. Really, really complete. A nice doe. The doe that comes in second maybe is just a little bolder right through her forerib. I admit that, and maybe just a little more expressive right down her top. As we study her though, she's a little steeper in terms of her hip. I don't think she's quite as assembled as nicely in that particular regard. But where she has the decided advantage to the doe in third is her slope of shoulder, flexibility up through her front end and knee, and I think she's also a little notch better from hop down in terms of her comfort and her mobility. On the standstill, a lot of things don't think about her going. She balances well. She's long and level in terms of her spine. I think she's got a nice silhouette and a lot of balance. Her problem is we put her in motion, as we talked about. She's just a little tight. She doesn't have quite the flexibility and athleticism as those two does we talked about, but a really, really nice doe. The red doe comes in there. She certainly has some pieces. She's up-fronted. She runs uphill. She's balanced. She's very highly presented, and I appreciate all those things. At the end of the day, she's a little tighter-hearted. She's a little frailer in terms of her bone work and her foot size and just the substance that she has. She's not quite as massive on either end of her skeleton on a comparative basis, but a very, very attractive, extremely nice balance, very, very well presented though. The doe one comes in fifth, and she's got some pieces as well. She's ultra big in her top, she's ultra bold ribbed, really wide chested. At the end of the day, she gets just a little shorter pattern, doesn't want to get out and move, and is not cooperating very well. We extend her up front, we give her just a notch more length as we take her apart. But again, one that's really wide based, extremely bold centered, and very, very muscular, so a lot of pieces to work with there. Congratulations here, Class 2, another competitive class.
Congratulations to Yuma, Arizona exhibitor Piper Livestock, followed by Hayden Double, Bailey Hanson, Bryson Paxton, Orange Prince, Tracy Mallory River, Kiana Boston, Mackenzie Rhodes, Cooley Raven, Macy Roselle, and Hayden Fenn. Class 3 are in now, Class 3 are in. One more class and we'll have our division drive. I'd like to thank our sponsors, UW Livestock Gym, WW Rodeo Livestock System, Legal Letters Club, Tractor Supply, Sullivan Supply, AB Livestock Show Supply, JDS Packerland, Nutrition by Design, Schroeder Show Stock of Ohio, Agridown All-Star LA Program, Sales, Routine Weather, Silverland, Traders, Give the Livestock Empire Power Systems Drive Jail of the Livestock Experiment Company. On here. In contact them, they can watch the show on our Facebook Live page at Arizona National Livestock Show on Facebook. You can see all the different species being broadcast on Facebook Live. Don't forget our grand drive taking place this afternoon for all species. Your winner in the lamb or goat show, you need to be here at 3 o'clock for the staging for the goats, at 3:15, or 3 o'clock for the lamb and 3:15 for the goats. You'll be here, and then you'll be escorted to the other show barn where we'll have live band.
I can't understand you.
Folks, this class is challenging, and not because there's not good does, because we've got tremendous quality out here, and lots of differences in type and kind, and where you want to place priorities, and what suits you the best. I guess the doe that I lead with, particularly from her hips forward, I think she's easily the class winner in terms of her extra rib shape, her extra thickness at top. This doe's tremendously muscular, and easily when you get in on top of them, she's the doe you gravitate towards in terms of liking her from that regard. I like her chest floor, her forearm. I think her front end's laid in there right in terms of having balance and extension, and still enough femininity with that extra mass to go with it. We could level her up in her hip just a little bit, and I don't think she maybe goes quite as comfortably as the two does that stand right behind her, but she's got that extra rib shape, she's got that extra depth of flank and body and natural width of skeleton as you watch her travel off both ends compared to those in second and third. I read the does in second and third to be very similar. There's maybe just a little more of the doe in second. Now from the side view, this doe to me, we just need to body up a little bit, give her just a notch more mass than she offers, but I love her extension. I love her when she gets out and travels, her feet and legs on the corner. She's very, very comfortable in terms of the way she does that, and I appreciate that a great deal. The red doe that comes in there third is obviously a little greener and a little less mature at this stage of the game, which I think is a positive thing for a lightweight breeding doe. I like her presentation. She's obviously shorter haired, and that maybe detracts just a notch from her, but I like her freshness. I like her balance. she's tremendously good in terms of her silhouette, her uniformity of body depth, her lines are excellent. She's really good in terms of her skeletal structure. She's just a little narrower gauged all the way through compared to the does that stand on either side of her. The doe that comes in fourth, in terms of rib shape and just mass at top, she probably matches her class winner a little better than the does in second and third. But after we say that, to me, she's the quickest looking one. She's the plainest one of that top four from the side, in terms of her pointed shoulder, in terms of her length and levelness at hip, in terms of the way her pieces fit together. She's obviously sound, she gets out and travels, appreciate those things about her, but just a nickel planer. A lot of things to appreciate about her doe in fifth. She's big bodied, she's broody, she's massive ribbed, she's got lots to her. I was a little critical of her as you study her. I don't know that her bone work quite matches her body type. She wants to splay out up front and get a little upright in her shoulder and doesn't travel quite as comfortably as you study her structurally there. But certainly big and broody and sound, and the lady's done a nice job with her. Congratulations, another neat, very high quality class.
Congratulations to Cash Kelly, Rogers, New Mexico, followed by Bryson Paxton, Valley, Firmster, Abby, Yarvik, Catherine Shelton, Caitlin Geist, Waylon Mullet, Man Epley, Liz Gonzalez, Scott Foster, Emily Hudson, Ariana Warner, Sydney McCullough, James Stinker, and Kelsey Whitaker. That was class 3, class 4 in the ring now. After this, we'll have our first division drive. These does are A1 to 85 pounds.
I know.
And I feel like an organ would be very well placed in. Yeah. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. We can't imagine not Peter getting in the way in one meeting. Oh, remember that strong put down? Remember he took him. I don't know.
very nice class again, and good quality all the way through, and particularly up here amongst these top 4 or 5. And this doe we start with, I think, has got a lot of neat things about her. She's very, very deceiving. From this view, you would not imagine that she handles quite the way she does. She's probably the best handling doe in the class. In terms of her natural width right behind her shoulder, bigness over her loin edge, and smoothness and neatness down her top, and she couples that by maintaining the most balance and symmetry when we put them in motion. Really built well in terms of her feet and legs, in terms of her presence. She's one that's got her neck comes tall out of her shoulder. She blends neat in her chest floor and the point of her shoulder, and has a lot of natural width. From the sides, would be just a little critical. She could be maybe just a notch fuller. I think she looks a little empty to me. To get her out here on the profile, let her belly down just a little bit, and I think you would appreciate her a great deal. That's an awfully nice female. The doe in second's probably a little fuller today, and maybe drops thinking her underlines to be just a little more sweeping. I'd be the first to admit that. I really like to stand still. She's big rib. She's big topped, she's got a lot of mass and substance to her. When we put her in motion, she tends to get just a little piecier. Her front end doesn't quite come together. She wants to roll her hip just a little bit. I like for her to maintain those lines a little better when we put her in motion. But I think she's better at the floor of her chest and the base of her neck than the doe that we've got coming in third. And I think she handles with just a little more natural loin about her and kind of gets her over the doe that we've got in third. When third's probably similar in her construction. She's one of the top trio I'm most critical of in terms of having just a little more chest and being a little thicker neck and not quite as extended and feminine and elegant as you study the front third of her body. But she kind of overwhelms the doe right behind her just in terms of sheer mass and substance and foot size, and just got more to her in that regard. The roan doe that comes in there fourth, the black-headed one, is one that grows on you. She's very, very complete, doesn't have any major holes in terms of no structural problems. I think she's adequately thick and muscular. At the end of the day, there's just not quite as much of her. She doesn't have quite as much substance, quite as much width, but she's ultra good in her balance. I think her lines are good, her pieces fit together right. She's a high-quality piece. Oh, I appreciate her a great deal. A young man told me we just couldn't quite get the go button going on this doe in fifth. If she get out and move, I think you can maybe consider her a notch higher. To me, she gets a little short, round, and steep out of her hip, and that's part of the reason that maybe she's not quite as comfortable in motion. From her hip on forward, a real nice female in terms of wrist shape and femininity she offers. Congratulations here as we round out Division 1. Good set of
Congratulations to Arkansas exhibitor Andy Agee, followed by Chaplain Johnson, Reese Olson, Casey Brassville, Garrett Frank, Sydney McCullough, Anna Reed, Casey Mallory Gilbert, Jordan Young, Brody Adams, Katie Roach, Fallon Yardley, and Kirsten Flanagan. And our division drive for the Class 1, Ariana Lindgren. Class 2, Piper Wiska, Cash, Kelly, and Andy A.G. Second place in those respective classes, Jared Frank, Bailey Tuttle, Bryson Paxton, Chandler Johnson. This is your Division 1 drive. 3 divisions. This is Division 1. Comprised of classes 1 through 4.
One, as we talked in class, a lot of quality here. We started with those lightweights and had several does in there that we liked extremely well and really liked the attractiveness and the balance and the femininity and refinement of our doe we start with, and she's got an ample amount of dimension to go with it. At times she maybe is just a nickel soft on those rear pasterns and set her up there just a little bit if we could change her, but I think one that's got a super good future. The young man's got a really bold center, big top one that was second to her in class. It wasn't quite as neat and extended up front as we talked about those two, but again, a really sound moving, wide skeleton one with plenty to her. Class 2, a doe that's not near as hairy, and you can see that from the outside. This one's just really complete. I think she's got female written all over. She's balanced, she's correct, she's good in her skeleton. I think she's got an ample amount to her in terms of rib shape and muscle. I guess if you get right down to it, she's probably not quite as stout as the does that surround her out here in this particular division, but you talk about function and soundness and femininity and balance and putting it all together. She does a lot of things really well. The doe second to her is stouter, no question, but not quite as level, maybe not quite as comfortable as we study her and put her in motion. Class 3, we had a pair of does that have some differences for sure from her hip forward. This Class 3 doe is really, really nice. She's as good handling, as big and square over her loin edge as any doe that we've had here in this particular division. She's big in her chest floor. Her shoulder blends in there pretty correctly. I'd level her and lengthen her out of her hip. I'd make her just a little more comfortable as I put her in motion behind. If I'm going to be a little critical of her, but I love her in terms of her rib and her top and the way she fits together up front. The place in that Class 3, really extended, really correct doe. We were talked in class, she could be just a little more massive in her forerib and center body for me, but again, one that's got a tremendous amount of quality about her. And then our heavier class winners, this doe that comes out of that's really correct. She's really long in her spine, she's very massive behind her shoulder and big over her loin edge, and handles it really well from a skeletal structure and a soundness standpoint. Maybe smooth her up just right behind her shoulder ever so slightly if we change her, maybe give her a notch more fill, and I think her balance would be even better as we get her on the profile. That doe that was second to her, again, big rib, got a lot of dimension about her. When we put her in motion, she tends to be a little down-headed, fight the halter, and just doesn't have that presence that we really like to see. If we can maybe correct that a little bit, but a high-quality doe as well. Put your hands together here in Division 1 for a nice set of does. We'll get a top 5.
There you go! Woo! Woo!
Congratulations to Class 4 winner and Division 1 champion, Andy A.G.
You're gonna be here a little longer.
New Mexico exhibitor Cash Skelly with our reserve champion. Chancellor Johnson for an overall California exhibitor. Piper Liska, Arizona.
Well, I think a really nice red doe here to lead this class, and the one that you study her and appreciate her when you get right behind her. She's monstrous in terms of her pin set, maintains a lot of width from end to end, and yet puts it together in a nicely balanced, straight line, attractive kind of a package. She's not the biggest bone one out here. Part of that is she's maybe not quite as hairy in her legs, and probably doesn't have quite as much hair on her overall as some does that stand behind her. But man, the three-quarter view of her is excellent in terms of her rib shape, the amount of mass she's got, and yet maintains some presence and skeletal correctness. I think that's where she excels our doe in seconds, just her natural width. As you study her up high and you get in behind her compared to the doe that we got in second, she's maybe just a notch longer from flank to flank, and a little more extended all the way through. But if you study her in terms of width, there's not quite as much there. I think she's enough more massive in her center body and dimension and bone work compared to the doe we got in third, who's a really extended feminine doe that's really correct in terms of her feet and legs. She just needs to have more to her. She's the narrowest gauged one here up the top 4 or 5. Just need to open her up in terms of her chest floor, let her go with just a little more base width behind and give her a notch more substance. The doe in fourth has that extra substance, but unfortunately we put her in motion. She's the one that pieces together the most. The front end wants to come out. She wants to roll out of her hip just a little bit and not have quite as much athleticism in terms of her motion and hold herself together quite as well. The slick-sheared doe certainly has some good to her. She's muscular and shapely in her top, some expression from behind. We'd like to level her up and strengthen her down her top line to fix her a little bit. Congratulations, these young people. Give them a nice hand, please.
Class 6 entering the ring now. Class 5 results. First place in Class 5 is Mallory Sager of Falls Valley, Oklahoma. Sarah Young of Leesburg, Ohio. Kendall Flory, Meridian, California. Reese Ingersoll of Live Oak, California. Anna Reed, Quincy Thurner, Landon Cardoza, Holly Bay Switzer, and Emily Davenport. Entering now, Class 6. Class 6, this will be on that division. 91 pounds. Charissa Arnold. Charissa Arnold. We have your Amazon Visa credit card. Thank you. Charissa Arnold. We have your Amazon Visa credit card. We'll be testing out shortly, so come get it.
And I'm just watching the steer show.
Get on charge, get on case.
I think a nice pair I did in this class that put some things together that the does in third and fourth kind of have pieces of. And between that pair, Joe that we got in first, I think she's really complete. I think she even looks better when we put them in motion because she's very comfortable and relaxed. She puts her head up and she gets out and strides with a lot of comfort and a lot of athleticism. I appreciate that. You put them side by side, get your hands on them. She's really big in terms of her rib cage. big in terms of her top and loin edge and get in behind her. I think that's where she excels our doe in second, is she just got more mass and she puts it together in a very correct kind of package. I like this doe in second a lot as well. She's maybe just a notch more extended, right up to her front third than the doe that we got in first, and maybe just a notch leaner in terms of her condition and at least the way she's presented. Again, very comfortable in motion, very correct in her skeleton. I think she's neater in terms of her chest floor, her shoulder, more extended up front than the doe that we've got in third. The doe in third is certainly massive. She's big chested, she's big ribbed, she's got a lot of dimension from end to end. Along with that, she's just a notch plainer and maybe wants to drop her breastbone a little bit and doesn't handle herself quite as well, and a little shorter couple perhaps, but man, I love her substance, I love her mass. She just gives up some in terms of the overall presence and balance of that top pair. The doe that comes in fourth is more extended. Be the first to admit that of this top end. She's the doe that we need to stouten up the most as she comes and goes the narrowest in terms of her overall skeleton, but I like her length. I appreciate her in terms of her correctness as well. Young lady's done a nice job presenting her. The red doe again has quality. Again, very well presented and extremely well shown. Just not quite as much mass, quite as much top shape, quite as much rib dimension in this doe, but she's very sound and very correct and very feminine and another quality female. Congratulations to all these young people. Give them a nice hand if you would please.
I think it's the kid who's driving. One with the red hair. Because he was in yesterday.
Your Class 6 results. In first place, Zachary Moore. Second, Isabel Atkins. Third, Emma. In third place, Emma Schneider. Fourth, Kendall Wolverine. Fifth, Fallon Hawkins. Sixth, Tanner Burchell. Seventh, Anna Reed. Eighth, Jamie Whitaker. Ninth, Kelly Nelson. 10th, Caitlin Lindsay. And 11th, Kevin Halls. In the ring now is Class 7 Wether Does.
There you go.
Two outstanding does in this class, and they are nothing alike in terms of the way they're built, but in terms of quality, those two are very, very unique and have lots of neat pieces, and appreciate them both a great deal for different reasons. The doe we start with, to me, is probably the biggest difference in them as we get them out and put them in motion is the doe in first is more comfortable. She's got a little more correct angulation in terms of her shoulder, a little more flexibility and length of stride, and just a little more ease of movement. She is big in her top side, got a tremendous amount of dimension as you study her down her top, and yet she balances and has lots of extension and levelness at top. She's not as blown apart, she's not as massive, she's not as muscular and shaky as that doe that we've got in stock, no question about that. But she's a little more refined, a little more extended. You couple that with her being just a little more comfortable when we set them in motion, I think she's the place to land. Now this doe in second is, man, she's got some pieces. She is massive rib. She is monster top. She's got a tremendous amount of power and a lot of technical shape about her, and yet is still balanced as well. When the young lady gets her gathered up here on the side view, she wants to toe up on ever so slightly, and she's just a little choppy in terms of her movement, if we can be critical of her, and she's a little different type and kind than the doe we start with for sure, but that doesn't take away from the fact that she's a good one with tremendous quality. This doe in thirds is just a really nice, solid doe as well. Doesn't really have any major holes or things that are wrong. She just runs into two of them in this particular class that are just so unique and wild in different areas that she winds up in third. I really like her completeness, like her skeletal makeup. She's certainly muscular, cold rib. Congratulations to that lady. Nothing to be ashamed of with that doe at halter for sure. The doe we got coming in fourth, again a nice presentation on that particular female. She's big ribs compared to her top trio. She gets just a little narrower underneath and not quite as much substance to her on a comparative basis. I think she's a little better in terms of her design to her front third. She's level and longer out to her hip. I think she maintains more balance and symmetry than the red top doe that we wind out our top five with, who certainly when we get her gathered up on the side, it has a big sweeping underline and a big rib cage in her. Maybe just a notch narrower pin that we're going to be critical and just a little piecey in terms of the way she balances. Congratulations to all these young people. Job well done.
Your class 7 results are third, Kaylee Stone, second, Destiny Emerson, third, Kiana Thompson, fourth, Hannah Souza, fifth, Dakota Rowe, sixth, Hunter Stevens, seventh, Holly Faye Switzer, eighth, Presley Jones, ninth, James England, and 10th, Cheyenne God. In the ring now, we have class 8 Wethers.
Well, and just like they stand, folks, a really nice class of does again with quality that runs deep. And we start with the young lady does a nice job presenting, and from the side view, without quite as much hair and fluffiness about her, you see that she's got just a little a dip right behind her shoulder. And I'd be the first to tell you I'd like to fix that compared to the does that stand right behind her. But what she does extremely well is when you put them in motion, she's really good in terms of her feet and legs and her presence and athleticism. You like her when you get on top of her in terms of the way she handles. Got plenty of substance and dimension about her. Just a really nice doe that's got a lot of practical things and function about her as I read her. The muscle doe in the class is in second. This doe is really blown apart. She's monster in her rib cage. She's really good over her loin edge. Tremendous shape from behind, and that's kind of what gets her over the doe that we've got coming in third. She's being a little ornery as we try and get her out and move her. I think structurally, I think she's fine, and maybe she's not quite as extended, quite as neat right at the point of her shoulder, but you put that much power and dimension and rib in one, you're going to have just a little shoulder. I think it fits in her fine from that regard. A little more extended doe that comes in there third that gives up some power and natural base width. You watch her travel forward and rear. She's not quite as opened up underneath through the lower third, through the center part of her body. But again, one extremely presented young lady's done an excellent job. You love her lines and her balance when we get her stuck on the profile. The doe that we got in third, when you handle her, get right on top of her, you like her a lot. She tends to come apart just a little bit as we put her in motion. She maybe wants to, her neck doesn't tie quite as neatly at the top of her shoulder. She has just a little more chest on her as we get her on a comparative basis. But again, a stout one that's big bodied, broody, and got a lot of quality as well. The young lady's got a really nice balance going that comes in and rounds out our top five. We just like to strengthen her right behind her shoulder. Like to give her just a notch more width at her pins and a little more width all the way through. We're going to be critical, but certainly one that gives us a great silhouette. She's maybe just a notch straighter up front and behind than she used to be, and not quite as flexible, particularly as we compare to our class level. Nice class again. Give these kids a nice hand for their hard work here this afternoon.